This one's for the girls because it's time for more girly talk and advice. I asked you guys what you wanted to see next on my YouTube channel, and you guys voted for a girly talk advice video. I've done one of these already, and you guys loved it, and I loved it too. It's super fun getting to like share my life experiences with you guys, and hope that they help you in yours. And so I asked you guys what you wanted advice on, and so I have it pulled up on my computer. I've got a bunch of kind of like different types of advice that we're gonna go through. So let's start at the top. This one comes to us from Shan M. Donnelly, and she asks, started getting my period again after 6 years. Advice to make it through. Girlfriend, listen, you're talking to the right girl and the not right girl at the same time. I have always had monstrous periods. I wish I didn't, but starting at age 11, that was when I got my first period. Rude that I got it so early. I have always had awful cramps. I mean, to the point that I'm like in the fetal position and there's just like nothing else I can do but just suffer. And it's been like that since I was 11. And it's still like that now that I'm 32. So one thing that I have found to be helpful is when you know your period is coming, maybe a couple days before, like there's all kinds of great apps and stuff to do that now. When I was younger, there obviously wasn't, so it was a bit more difficult to do it like with a calendar. But now that apps do a really good job of like predicting, I use one called Flow, F-L-O. There's a free version and then there's a paid version. I don't really think you need the paid version. It's not that like cool or helpful, but I do feel like tracking my period, very helpful. And it's always good because like I can't ever remember the date of my period when I go to the doctor. They're like, when was your last period? I'm like, I don't know, let me pull up my app. So Flow is awesome. That's what I use. And when I know my period's coming a couple days before, I start taking some type of pain reliever. Now this is the thing, I have tried them all. And ibuprofen for me has been a hard no since I got gastritis last year after taking too much ibuprofen because of my shoulder. So I haven't taken ibuprofen in a really long time because my stomach, I still don't think is quite recovered. So be careful with the ibuprofen, especially taking it on an empty stomach. Don't do that, okay? Because you'll be more miserable when your stomach and your uterus and your whole body is angry. So I highly recommend taking Midol. That works for me, but lately what I've been using is Aleve. So I take Aleve every 12 hours, especially starting a couple days before my period. That way it's like in my system so that like the cramps don't catch me by surprise. And then I will throw in Midol once my period actually starts, and I'll take that during the day because it does have caffeine in it, so I don't take that at night. And that helps me keep it at bay. I will still tell you that I still struggle, and I wish that I had like magical answers because I would like them. But heating pads are great for me. Baths, especially Epsom salt baths, because the magnesium in Epsom salt is actually designed to ease muscle cramping, which can help sometimes. And just resting, allowing your body to rest. I have always like hated my period, not only because of how painful it is, but because it just absolutely derails me for the week pretty much, because mine lasts for about 5 to 7 days. But I also try to remind myself that your body is doing a lot in that moment. And so it is okay to have a day or two or whatever, a couple hours, like whatever you have, to allow yourself to rest, knowing that your body needs a little bit more of it. And sometimes I'm like extra hungry during that time of the month as well for me. And so I always feel a little bit guilty about like eating more than like I normally do. I think that's like a girl thing, I don't know, or maybe like a me thing. But I'm always like, oh, like you don't normally eat this much. No, like if you're hungry, like feed your body. If your body needs fuel, give it fuel. And so I just like really try to listen to what my body needs. And chocolate, that helps too. Other than that, I ride it out. You got it, Shan. I'm so sorry that it's back because Aunt Flo's a bitch. I hate that girl. She needs to get the heck out of Dodge. I don't know why men don't have to deal with this. And unfortunately, the only other solution that I have been provided for my monster cramps, because they've like ruled out any like bad things, is birth control. And I don't really want to take hormonal birth control because it's really messed me up in the past. And so I just choose to live life without it. But that is an option that I have been provided with. But that's one obviously you can talk to your gynecologist about. And always go and make sure that everything's like normal and everything's healthy and good. Get your pap smears. Do all that good stuff. It's really important for you. Okay? Okay. Next question comes to us from Melise. That's a beautiful name. Kluger. Self-care tips and things that have helped you mentally feel better. I'm going to tell you what the one thing is that has been kind of a game changer in my life, especially in the last couple of years, because I am not somebody who knows how to slow down. In fact, I've done a really poor job in my life of treating rest as a reward instead of rest as a right. And I'm sad that I did that to myself, because it has created this mindset where I feel like everything has to be done in order for me to rest or for me to sit down and eat lunch. Like, that's so simple, but like in my brain, like things have to be done, but there's always going to be something to do. That's life. And so learning how to take care of myself has been something that is definitely a challenge. I like to do it like in certain days, like so that there's like certain moments of self-care that I get to look forward to, that I know like are dedicated for rest. That is a right that I have. We all have a right to rest. Okay, so if you need me to tell you, you got a right to it. Okay, girlfriend. And so I plan it out for me that like alleviates some of the anxiety of like, you need to be doing this, and this. Like, you don't have time to do this right now. Like, no, I have set time aside for it. Make sure you set time aside for yourself. So like Saturdays, you guys see me do it. I do my nails every Saturday. Like, I do my own nails. And for me, that's like really therapeutic. I get to like sit at my desk and just like chill out, do my nails, do something that feels good for me. And so every Saturday I do that. Or I try to do something every Saturday. I call it Self-Care Saturday, where I just like do something nice for myself. Like, whatever it is. There's this like local massage place that does foot massages. And it's called reflexology, so, which is funny because, like, if you heard reflexology, I don't know if I would have known that that was a foot massage. But my mom started doing it a while ago, and it's like $30 for an hour, and they massage your feet, and it's magical. And so I do that every once in a while, like maybe like once every couple months. But just like something nice for myself. Go for a walk, like whatever my body is craving. And the other thing, this is the game changer that I was telling you about. I love a good rot day, and I can thank my friend Brie the nurse on TikTok and Instagram. You guys know my friend Brie if you follow me over there, and she is such a believer in a rot day, and I had never heard that term until she started talking about it, but it's basically a day where you allow yourself to just become one with your couch. Like, I get up and I shower, so I get up and like eat breakfast and like do normal things like that, but then otherwise I give myself permission to do nothing. And that's so liberating in the craziest way. Like, honestly, it's a game changer. I can't say that I do it like once a week or anything like that, but I try to do it like once every once in a while. And especially when I'm feeling like really run down, that like rejuvenates me in ways that I don't have words to describe. Just sitting there and giving yourself permission to do whatever the hell you want. Watch TV, watch movies, read a book, like whatever it is, sleep, whatever you need in that moment. Like, even if it's not a full rot day, a rot like hours, you know, like a couple hours, whatever you have, give it to yourself. Give yourself permission to just sit down and do nothing. And that's my best advice in self-care. And not allowing like the hustle and bustle of the world to like drag your mental health down. And just check in with yourself. Like, you know when you're doing well and when you're not. And when you're not, you might want to pour a little extra into your cup. These next two questions, I want to answer together because I think they're somewhat related. The first one comes to us from Tonka Makes You Laugha, which I like. And it's how to communicate boundaries with friends. And the second one comes to us from Soul by Law. I hope I'm saying that right. I said this in my last Girly Talk advice video, but usernames are hard to pronounce sometimes. So if I butcher it, I'm so sorry. It's dealing with people who like you to your face but can't stand you behind your back. And I think both of them kind of involve boundaries and who you like keep in your life. And the first thing I want to say is only keep people in your life who make you feel like the best version of yourself, who make you feel good about yourself. It's okay if those friends are the people that are going to be like brutally honest with you, but because it comes from a point of care, not people who will tear you down because it makes them feel better. There's a difference, and that's really important to note out. The latter, not healthy. People who are honest with you because they love you, those are great people to keep in your life because they genuinely care about your well-being. And those people who care about your well-being will respect your boundaries. Anybody in your life, it could be a significant other, it could be a friend, but one of the things that I have learned in especially my adult friendships, and I'm really fortunate to have like a really good quality, very small, close-knit group of girlfriends who really respect my boundaries. Like, if you have a friend who doesn't respect when you say, I'm just not feeling like hanging out today, and their response instead is, well, that's not an excuse. Or, oh, you should come out anyways. That's somebody who's selfish in your friendship, and that's somebody who doesn't respect your boundaries, and those people are not people you want to keep in your life. And I think it's okay to communicate and give people the opportunity who don't realize that they're not letting you keep your boundaries. I think it's okay to bring that up to people in a means to attempt to like fix a friendship if that's something that you want to do. But if not, don't ever feel bad about cutting somebody out of your life who makes your life worse. Like, the people who surround you should only make your life better. And that's something that I've always really tried to do. I have had friendships in the past that were not that way. And sometimes people are genuinely in your life for a reason or a season. And some of those people who are in your life for a season are people who don't fit in your life for a long time. And sometimes that can be because they don't let you keep your boundaries. And for the people who like you to your face and don't like you behind your back, those people, don't you give them the time of day. They don't deserve the ground that you walk on, the air that you breathe, that they don't deserve to be around you. Because those people aren't honest with you. Those aren't friends. Those are people who are not nice to you. And those are people that you should not have in your life. And I would highly recommend that you keep them out of your life because it will be better. And sometimes that's really hard to do because sometimes we love people who hurt us, and that's really hard to get through. And all I can say is at the end of the day, you want to have love that's reciprocated, that like you feel full when you're with those people. You feel rejuvenated when you're with those people. You don't want to have a friendship that constantly like brings you down. That's awful. That's not a friendship. That's just a relationship with somebody that you're fighting to keep and maybe you don't need to. So I always think reevaluating that all the time is super important. People should add to your life, not take away from it. And that's what I want to say about that. Okay, this next one kind of goes hand in hand with that, so I wanted to do it as like a follow-up question. It comes to us from Carrie Berry. I love that username. And it's making time for girly friends. Listen, you guys know I'm very passionate about Girls' Day, okay? Every Monday in my little friend group is Girls' Day. And we have done this for years. I don't even remember like where it started. Oh, I do remember where it started. We started watching The Bachelor together. I am a big fan of The Bachelor, at least like I was a long time ago. I've recently jumped back in. But like that used to be what like drew all of my girlfriends together. They would come over to my house and we'd make snacks and we'd watch The Bachelor. And it became like an every Monday thing. Well, then we were like, what happens when The Bachelor's not on? Like, what do we do? And so we started getting together for lunch. And then when we kind of stopped watching The Bachelor, we still kept getting together for lunch. And then every Monday, no matter what we did, like sometimes we would do like bigger events, like a wine tasting, and sometimes we just have lunch. But we always make time to see each other on Mondays as much as we can, because when you're an adult, your friendships change. And that's one of the things that's like so hard is when you're like in high school, especially like, because for me, these are friends that I've had for like a really long time since I had a less complicated life. And it's really sad because a lot of those friendships can die off because our lives get so freaking busy as adults. Like, we have jobs, we have a house to take care of a lot of the time, children, marriages, spouses, relationships. Like, we have things. We have lives that are much fuller than they were, you know, when we were teenagers. And so it's harder to keep friends in your life. You have to make time for them. But I think the friendships that are super, like, that really fill your cup, like, those are the ones you, like, really should make time for, because it's like something to look forward to. And so it doesn't always have to be every week. In my friend group, every Monday is Girls' Day, and it's something that we look forward to. We usually just do lunch, especially now that, like, Steph, one of my girlfriends, she has a baby. She has a daughter now, and she's busy with her, but she still comes, and we now have an extra little girlfriend for Girls' Day, and it's super fun. And my friend Megan comes, and sometimes we like bring people in, you know, sometimes there's like extra friends that are in town. And so Girls' Day is like an open, safe space to just like hang out, catch up, just talk about life. And that way we always feel like we're included in each other's lives and we know what's going on. And so even if we're not seeing each other, you know, every day like we were when we were teenagers, we're still so heavily involved in each other's lives. And that for me has been really, really nice. And so 10 out of 10 recommend Girls' Day. Or maybe like Girls' Days like once a month or once every other week, like whatever you have time for, make time for your friends and make it a regular thing. That way it's planned into all of your schedules so that you all know it's coming, so you keep that time reserved for it. you will be so happy for it. Because keeping your friendships as an adult is something that's like so important. You have to have friends outside of, especially like if you are in a marriage or relationship, you have to have same-sex friends outside of that, because it just is, you gotta have it. You gotta have regular friends outside of your relationship, because it will make your life better. You gotta have other people who see you and understand you and support you, other than just like your partner. So 10 out of 10 recommend that. Okay, this next one comes to us from Grace Rose. I hope I'm saying that right. And it's coping in this life as a female who has to deal with ADHD. Listen, Linda. Okay, I didn't know that I had ADHD until I was a lot older, but it made me make sense a lot more when I did find out. So my mom is an educational psychologist. And when I was younger, she tested me for like random things as she was going to school. And so none of those tests ever were ADHD. And so my mom, when I got older, well, one of those tests when I was younger showed that I had a really bad memory. But what actually transpired when I got older is we found out I have raging ADHD. And that is the reason. It's not that my memory is bad, it's my attention span is so small that trying to memorize anything is almost impossible. So for what that's worth, I didn't know until I was much older that I had ADHD. I'm not medicated for it because, unfortunately, all the medications that they use for ADHD are somewhat stimulants to the nervous system. And so there's a good chance that they would make my tremors worse, which is a neurological condition that I have. And so I don't take medication. So this is what I do. And I'm going to tell you, I don't do a really good job of monitoring my own ADHD. So, but I will tell you things that have helped me and helped me stay organized in my life. One of the things that is like integral in my life is lists. I am a list girl, because if I don't write it down, I'm going to wind up doing something else. And before I even remembered that I needed to do that, and then it gets dropped and forgotten. And so my notes app in my phone is like my holy grail. That is where I brain dump things. 10 out of 10 recommend the brain dump, because for me, my brain moves so fast and I have no ability to like finish one task before I move on to another. It's awful. I wouldn't wish it upon anybody. Especially as like a woman. I know they say that we like feel more emotional or like emotionally like taken down by our ADHD, and I feel that a lot. Because I feel like, oh my God, Nicole, like, what is wrong with you that you can't just, like, get a grip on it? Like, why can't you finish one thing before you move on to the next thing? But so I 10 out of 10 recommend making lists, because it allows me to still make sure that I get everything done. And the second thing is a planner. And I know that might be, like, really anti-ADHD, because it's really hard for people with ADHD to, like, plan things. But I have found, for me, that a planner keeps my life moving in a way that's much more fluid, because I can like plan ahead, because genuinely I'm doing too many things at one time always. You can ask my husband, I'm always doing 10 things at one time. And that makes it really hard to like remember plans, remember appointments. And so I feel much more secure than I do just like flying by the seat of my pants, because like that's what I would do without a planner, and that's dicey, and it's not you don't feel very in control of your life. And so for me, having a planner helps me feel in control of my life, and that's something that I feel like ADHD makes me feel like I'm lacking sometimes. And so a planner for me is really important. And so I would recommend trying to build that as a habit if it's something that you don't do. Lists and planners, because it's the easiest way to get all of the information that's constantly circulating in your brain while you're probably trying to do 50 things at one time and not finishing any of them. It's really helpful to be able to like at least get the information out in an organized fashion. For me, that's like been super helpful. Otherwise, I'm sure that there's lots of like medical resources, so I always recommend talking to your doctor about it. And just like make the decision that's the best for you. But I feel you. It's rough out here. All right, our last question comes to us from Kelsey, and it's you radiate confidence. What's the secret? Well, first of all, thank you. That's such a wonderful compliment. And I think I want to start out with, I think that learning how to love yourself is really the key to displaying confidence, because confident people are not necessarily the most beautiful people in the room. Actually, sometimes the most beautiful people in the room lack confidence. And I always remind myself of that it has nothing to do with how good you are or how good enough you are. You're always enough. You just have to see yourself that way. Because if you do, then you're going to show up in the way that displays confidence, like you love yourself. Loving yourself is genuinely the secret to self-confidence in my book. There is some kind of magic secret sauce that happens when you turn 30, and I don't know what it is. There's something in the water. People told me about it, and then when I entered my 30s, I was like, oh, this is what they were talking about. But genuinely, like, when you hit your 30s, you just like start embracing yourself like as you are. I just stopped trying to change myself all the time to fit the mold of what I think I should be, and start focusing a lot more on just loving myself exactly as I am in that moment, because that's enough. If it's enough for the people who surround you, which again, this goes back to having good people around you who make you feel like the best version of yourself, as long as those people love you and you love yourself, there's no reason you shouldn't show up as feeling super confident. And those are things that I know to be true in my life. I don't have anybody in my life who wants to change me or thinks that I should be better or different. I only have people in my life who love me exactly as I am, exactly where I am, and I love them exactly the same way. And that has helped me to love myself. And I didn't always feel this way about myself, actually. And especially as somebody who, like, I've been with Kyle, my husband, since I was 18 years old. So I've had a man in my life who has, I mean, that man loves me. And he thinks I'm the most beautiful person in the room and always has. And he thinks I'm the sweetest, the smartest, the best person in the room all the time. And I think the same way about him. And even with that building my confidence, when I was in my early 20s, I really did not feel confident in myself. I have never been a skinny person. And I'm only going to tell you that because that has dramatically affected my confidence at times in my life. And I used to feel like, okay, well, I'm going to love myself when I'm skinnier, when I'm smaller. And that's such bullshit, because the more that I have gotten older, I want to be healthy. Like, that's so much more important to me. And that's something that not everybody has. Some of the skinniest people in the entire world are some of the most unhealthy people on the planet. And I could spin circles around them on the cycle bike at the gym, because that's all I do right now. But like, otherwise, I normally do other kinds of fitness. I'm just, that's all I got right now. But anyways, you get the picture. Like, I'm healthier than some of those people because I work so hard to be. And so even if I'm not as skinny as them, it doesn't make me not healthy. And health is so much more important. And so the more I started reshaping those ideas about myself that made me not like myself as much, the more I started to just like embrace myself exactly as I am. As long as I'm showing up every day and doing my best to like be the best version of myself, and as long as I'm surrounding myself with people who make me feel like the best version of myself, there's no reason you won't show up feeling confident. And know that you are exactly enough. If you need to hear it from somebody, because sometimes you do need to hear it from somebody else, that you are beautiful and wonderful, and there are people who would kill to have the body you have, the personality you have, the light that you shine. Like, there are so many people who would kill to be you. And that's something that I've genuinely always tried to remember, is that comparing yourself to somebody else destroys your self-confidence. Comparing yourself to yourself, that builds confidence. And so for me, like, I just try to be the very best version of myself. And that makes me feel confident. And so if I ever radiate confidence, which is such a beautiful, wonderful compliment, because it's something that I didn't always have and I worked really hard to do, like, that means it's working. And one of the things that I do all the time to keep that moving is to just genuinely show up as I am. I don't ever try to change myself for anybody. I don't try to change myself to fit the mold of what other people I think they want me to be. Like, I show up, you can ask anybody in my personal life, like, I am exactly online as I am in real life, because you guys deserve that from me. For me to show up and tell you that it's okay to show up exactly as you are. And for me, even in front of all of you, it's okay to show up exactly as you are. And people will love you. And people do love you. You just have to make sure that you're always telling that to yourself. Loving yourself is the secret to self-confidence. And that takes time, but it can happen. You just have to start embracing yourself and embracing all the wonderful things about you that do make you different. And that's pretty magical. So if you need to hear from anybody else, you are so much more than you think that you are. You just have to see it. And tell yourself that every day. Tell yourself at least one thing you like about yourself every day. And that's going to grow over time. And I promise you it's going to make a difference. And I just like love being able to share that with you, because that's, like I said, like even if you only saw one video of mine on TikTok or Instagram, you might think I'm a really confident person, but like I wasn't always like this. And I think it's really cool to be able to share my life experience with you guys. That's what I love about this platform, is I can share so much more about my life with you guys. And I genuinely, like, I love being able to connect with you on a level like that, and to like meet you where you're at in your life. Like, that's so cool. We can learn from each other. And so if you liked this video, please let me know, because I would love to give you more of them. If there was advice that you didn't get today, let me know. Leave it in the comments, and like that you would love to hear. I would love to give you more. So let me know in the comments if there's something that you wanted to hear today that you didn't. I would love to direct you guys over to mine and my husband's podcast. It's called Across the Couch with Kyle and Nicole, and it's on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And a lot of you guys have asked like for marriage advice or to know more about my marriage. And that's one of the easiest ways, is to go listen to our podcast, because you'll understand more about us in the way that we interact with each other. There's tons of Q&As over there, and I might try to get him to do like a marriage advice episode. I think that would be really cool. So comment down below if you would like that, because the more of you that chime in, the more he might be willing to do it. Because I think that we probably have some good things to offer, and there was a lot of questions about that, but I kind of want Kyle to do that with me, because marriage is two people. Like, it is definitely the work of two people at one time, and so I would love to do that with Kyle. So comment down below and we might be able to get him into it. I think he'd do it. I think he would definitely do it. So please let me know if you want more of these. Like I said, make sure you subscribe. Go down there and hit the button. Go hit that button, okay? Because you don't want to have to miss my face, and I don't want to have to come hunt you down to make you come hang out with me. Boundaries, right? I'm just kidding. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. Again, subscribe so you don't have to miss my face, and I'll see you in the next one. I love you. Bye.
I want it better than the weekend. Take it back to when we said just friends. Don't wanna tell you something new. I never said I'll fall for you. I want it better than the weekend. You can't show me just what I'm missing. Pretend. Don't wanna tell you something new. I never said I'll fall for you. We don't gotta fix shit. Nothing that I'm missing. I don't know if we went wrong. Shouldn't have to take this long. Wasting my days away, wishing we fall through. And I told you I want it better than the weekend. Take it back to when we said just friends.